Oh, welcome back to the Lycra Conspiracy. I'm your host, Nathan Craig, and together with my great friend and co-host, Andrew Hudson, we're going somewhere uncomfortable. Into the herd, into the grind, into the part of the ride or the run, or the workout, or the life that most people try to avoid. We call it the pain cave. But here's what today's episode is really about. The pain cave is not punishment, it's a portal. A passage, a test, a mirror. And if you're willing to stay in it, not sprint out of it the second it gets hard, you'll come out changed. So buckle in. Today is not hype or habit. Today is about the threshold and who you become when everything screams at you to stop. Andrew, how's it going? I just want to say I'm loving that mustache. I've just got to point that out to our listeners who may not be able to see Andrew, but Andrew has cropped the beard down to a beautiful handlebar mustache.
Thanks, Nathan. It's great to be here. Yes, I'm slowly working my way into heading back to work on Monday, so I've gone just paring it back in stages to sort of mentally work myself into that. So, yeah. Full beard one day, moustache the next, and I'll have that baby face ready for Monday.
No, it looks absolutely beautiful. I love it. It's looking really good. So this episode now, I know that you've got your pain cave set up. You've had experience in the pain cave. What's been one of your highlights? Like one of the truly painful rides or runs that you've been in?
So I'm actually like sort of sitting just adjacent to my pain cave. Like my bike setup and everything is just to right of me. Hardest ride and things like that inside here would be the Uber pretzel.
Oh yeah.
That was pretty full on. The PRL, is it up PRL?
Yep.
Full?
The PRL full.
Uphill.
That's like 173 kilometres, is it?
That is. It's a long time to sit on a stationary bike.
Yep.
So they would be two of my hardest. Today I managed to do the Sacre Bleu.
Oh, okay, France. The climb. Yep.
Yeah. It's like 70 k's or something like that. It's like, the Three Musketeers route. It's double that.
Yeah.
So I just tootled around for that this afternoon. So the only climbing you do is not so much climbing.
Oh, okay.
But it's just a long time to be sitting there. So.
Oh, okay. So this is one of the French routes. I should know this. I've not done all the new routes that they launched a little while ago.
Well, that was the last badge I had to get.
Yeah. Okay. And you got it.
So I got that. Was one of my goals to get that ticked off before the end of the holidays. While France is obviously really active in Swift at the moment. So it's just like let's get this done and get that out the road. So
okay.
Get that in the
so wait, so that was 73 kilometres.
About 70 something close, 72,
nice.
Something like that.
Hang on 1 second. Yep.
So they're probably my hardest rides in my pain cave would be things like that.
Yep.
I don't have a treadmill or things like that in here, so I don't do anything in that sort of a space. So. It's literally just either a long time in the saddle or doing some of the bigger climbs on the climb portal would be hard as well.
Yep. Now, that's the thing, isn't it? With anything like this, I think anything, and I know that I've experienced it too. In actual fact, I did it on Thursday of last week, or Thursday this week. So I joined the CHOP. So the CHOP is a Zwift race. So for those that have been listening, we do refer to Zwift a lot. We do both cycle and in the virtual Zwift world quite a bit. We do outside and outdoor stuff as well, but we often refer to this. And in this case, the CHOP is an Aussie-based race. It's a handicap race. And what that means is that each category starts out with a time. So the Ds start out first, and then the C's follow them about 3 minutes later or 5 minutes later, and then the B's 3 minutes later, and then the A's are like 2 or 3 minutes later after that. And the idea is that each of the groups have to try and stay away from the chasing group, but also the chasing group's got to try and catch the group in front. So I'm a C grade rider, and Andrew, you're no stranger to the chop, and
I've done the chop.
I dropped myself into B grade specifically for this episode. Well, not specifically. I've got a goal in mind this year that I want to try and podium in a B grade race. It's slow going, and anyway, so this is in the Locker Loop in Scotland. It's a route in Scotland. And it's punchy. It's not one of my favourite sort of routes. It's just up and down. There's no flat spots. And I said to myself that I needed to try and stay with the B for as long as I could. And I knew it was going to be painful. And I did okay for like the first half of the first lap. Yep. And then there was like one of the draggy climbs up, and they just pulled away from me, and I just couldn't find the power I needed to keep up with them. And so that ended up, so the first 8 kilometres was just pure pain. But of course, then it just threw me into a position where I was stuck. So there's no one else around me. And eventually there's a few other riders, other B grade riders that had dropped off, and we bunched up into a group, and then we picked up a couple of C graders as we progressed through the ride. And this is a 30K race, so it's not big in terms of the amount of effort, but it certainly is painful. And it was almost like a TT, like a time trial event right up until the end.
Yep.
And it's just pain, just absolute pain. But that was the thing. That was, I knew I had to put myself in the B grade. If I'm going to win in B or be competitive in B, I can't keep not doing B grade races.
Yeah.
And I did that on Thursday, and I came 33rd out of 54.
That's all right, though. I mean, it is, as you say, you've got to push yourself to that limit to be able to sustain it in that level of the race.
Yeah.
And if you want to get better at B grade, then you, as you've been doing, you've got to work harder at that level to be able to maintain that, get your body used to being able to maintain that wattage or endurance for the time that it is. So that's part of it, I guess, of what you're talking about in terms of your pain is like, even with the things that I do in my rides, I did the Ven 10 the other day, which was a climb, and it was just a really grindy sort of a climb. The first couple of Ks aren't too bad, and then it's just about 7 or 8%, and it just goes on from that. And was talking in our chats in our race group, because there was another guy in there, Ryan, who was thinking about doing it, and he's going, "Oh, it's so far," and I said, yeah, but each one of the little legs in the segments is like just under 2Ks long, so it's 1.9 or something like that.
Yep.
So you just, as we've talked about in previous things, you break it down into goals, and so for me it was just like, just do that 2Ks and then get to the next one. Do 2Ks, get to the next one, and you just basically tick off the route like that. And so I think that's one of the ways of dealing with a hard ride, is that. But that sustained effort that you're talking about in terms of B grade, that sort of brings back the time trials that we used to do in C grade. And when you are certainly there's a big difference, I think, when you're doing something just by yourself like that ride up Ven 10, and as opposed to working as part of a team where you really put yourself all out there in terms of effort to make sure that you are not letting any one of those team members down to the best of your ability, and you'll go till you blow, basically. So that's really sort of the extreme, I guess, of putting yourself out there in that pain cave is doing like TTs or going up grades like you're talking about, and really pushing yourself to do that, to improve.
And it's the only way that you find out what you're capable of, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Like you think, okay, I'm at a certain level, and until I know I do this, until I put myself, and I'm really surprised when it happens, when I put myself in that position where I go, okay, I'm going to try and do this. And so I know it's going to be 20 minutes, or it's going to be half an hour, or it's going to be whatever the case is. And you put yourself in that position and you try and hold it for as long as you can. And then, I'm often surprised at how much I can do. You know,
Yes.
it's like until you force yourself to be in that position, I'm often surprised. And this is where like when I do a workout, and I love I love this. I love creating workouts. Now there's two Nathans involved here. There's a Nathan that thinks, hey, this workout's gonna be lots of fun. And then there's the Nathan who goes, oh, this is not fun at all. What the hell, what was I doing? Why did I even think this was gonna be fun for? And so Nathan, who's at work or, you know, sitting there on the couch goes, oh, let's create this workout. This workout's gonna be great. And then it's like, you know, all mostly red and orange and a bit of green here and there, and then, you know, Nathan's actually doing it. But then when you actually get through it, like I created a workout that simulated a team time trial in Zwift. So the ZRL series that we've done. And so essentially it was a sustained effort for 1 minute at like, you know, 350 watts,
Yep.
350, 380 watts. And then for the next 5 minutes or 4 minutes, it dropped down and it was a ramp up again, back up to like 280 and then boom, another full minute at 350 watts. Yep. And so it was, and I did that. And so the first time I did that, I had it a bit too high. So I adjusted a little bit and brought it down because I just couldn't complete it. But then suffered through like 50 minutes of this. And it was, got it done in the end.
I like how you've kept going with it too, though. That's the good thing about that.
Yeah,
exactly. One, that you've put yourself out there, but two, that you keep pushing yourself to see that through, to see through completion. So,
well, as I said, that's where you find, you know, what you're capable of, or at the point you're going to throw up. It's one of those. And look, don't get me wrong. I mean, I've often quit out of workouts I've created. I've got a whole bunch of workouts there, and I've just gone, I couldn't be bothered. But then there's times where, you know, you hold on, you grit, and then you just go through it, and you get it done, and it's good. But I mean, it applies it applies to anything though. It's not just, you know, sports and stuff, you know, but it applies to lots of things. Not just, you know, pushing yourself, but life, especially when stuff gets hard. Life, you know, tough conversations. Again, you don't want I shirk away from it. You know, I don't like having, you know, hard conversations, especially when I was working in IT. Well, I work in IT now, but when I was managing large teams, and you might get this too, Andrew, as well. You're managing large teams, and when a team member isn't delivering, they're not doing what they're meant to be doing, or they're doing it but it's a bit half-assed, and then you got to have that hard conversation with them about, okay, you got to do better. You got to stop, you know, messing around. You got to stop, you know, being a bit of an idiot, and you know, get the job. And no one likes to have that conversation. No one likes to be on the end of that conversation either. So, but you got to do it.
You do, and I've got to do that probably in the next few weeks. So, you know, at the end of our first semester, we get all of our grade data, like all the students' grades from the semester. And then part of my role is to look through all of that and see what irregularities come out of that, or if there's patterns there and things like that. And then potentially, you know, you might have a conversation you've got to have with a teacher. You know, if you've got 3 teachers who all teach year 8 woodwork or whatever, and you've got one that's grades are completely different to the other 2, or
okay, yeah,
and then you sort of have a conversation, and you might be saying, oh, okay, well, you know, what is that? It could be something that they're doing. It could be something that the other 2 are doing. It could be the cohort of kids that are in the class. So it's about trying to dig deeper and delve deeper into that space. But yes, having that conversation with them can be quite uncomfortable, and you got to put yourself, you know, out there in terms of, like, you know, differentiate yourself. It's not about a personal attack on them or from you or anything like that. It's, you know, this is the job, and this is, you know, I'm here to do a job, and this is what I got to do.
So it's difficult situations.
Yeah.
You know, and no one likes them. I don't.
No.
You know, and I don't like being on the end of those conversations too. And I've that has happened in the past, and you know, it's the same. You know, with running, it's the same with gym. going to the gym. We've Sharon and I have had the same conversations. She keeps me honest. I keep her honest.
Yeah.
And even when you think you failed, and like we've both experienced this. When you, especially in a race, so ZRL, which is team racing, and you've got 6 or 8 guys there, and everyone's trying to do the best they can for everyone else.
Yep.
And when you feel like you've not done the best, like you really wanted to, you thought you could, this was a good opportunity to demonstrate you could, you'll get the points, or you can lift the team in a team time trial or something like this, and all of a sudden, it doesn't work out. You don't get the points, you get dropped, and you feel like you let everyone down. But again, that's that part of that whole, facing that pain point, facing it, and then pushing past it and going, okay, well, let's try again. Let's not give up. Let's just keep pushing through it.
Yeah, I think that resilience that is needed as part of that is, to pick yourself up when you aren't doing that well, and to have another go, and to have another go, and you have another go, and it's acknowledging that everything, and we've talked about this in previous episodes, where things don't always go to plan. They don't always do pan out the way you want them to do, but it's about sort of being able to dust yourself off and go, okay, well, tonight wasn't my night, sorry guys, and acknowledge that, and then go, right, you do your training again, and you do everything else, and you're for the following race next week or whatever, and go again. It's a very good title that she's got, Enjoy the Suffering, because that's what we sort of you got to embrace that.
Yeah, exactly.
So clearly that's a part of it.
I can tell you the first time that I did the AWST. Now, I know I've told you the story before. So the AWST in Victoria, it's a 250-kilometre ride. It's 5,000 metres of climbing in one day. And this is across 3 mountains in Victoria. So we've got Mount Hotham, we've got Falls Creek, and we've got Twonga Gap. Now, Twonga Gap is probably the smallest of the 3. It's not very big at all, but certainly combined with the other 2, it's a significant day in the saddle. And for anyone that knows the back of Falls Creek, there's a particular turn, there's a particular corner called WTF corner, which stands for What the Fuck Corner. And it's essentially that, because up until then, you've climbed over Hotham, and it is what it is. Like, the climb is a climb, and it's not that bad. You go down, you go through Omeo, you go around the back, and then you hit this corner where you've got a 10-kilometre stretch at roughly an average of about 10%. And so this is after about 180 metres, 200 metres of climbing, and then you've got to hit this 10K stretch where it's just nothing but pain. There's nothing, like when they were telling us about this, so that you had to have done sufficient rides and give evidence that you could do this kind of ride before you attempted it. So they wouldn't allow you to sign on until you could prove that you'd done earlier rides of similar distances, and you could justify that you could do it. And the reason is because there's absolutely no support around that back section. So there's very little mobile phone coverage. There's no support wagons. There's no towns. There's no one's coming to get you.
Yep.
And so they tell you, like, you basically load up with a small, kit, like a kit bag of mechanical equipment that you can use to fix chains, change tires, fix gears, all these sorts of things.
Yeah.
And I remember going up, and so it's about maybe somewhere around 1:30 in the afternoon. Now, this is in the Australian summer. Admittedly, we're in the mountains, but it's still hot. So it's getting up towards maybe 30 degrees, 35 degrees as we start to head back up the mountain. And it's going to get a little bit cooler as we get towards the top. That's understandable. But to give you a sense, one of the towns we went through towards the very end, it was sitting at 44 degrees Celsius. Now, I'm sure it's about 110, somewhere around there, Fahrenheit, I think it is.
Something like that.
Yeah, it's insane. It was absolutely insane. And I remember just walking. Well, no, I didn't walk up parts of that climb, but I do remember getting off my bike about 5 times, and just sitting there, just standing there. And there's no water stops. There's no team cars coming past with Bidens of cool water, ice cold water. There's just nothing. And so I had whatever water I had, and I was running really low. And I remember that Raspberry Hill, which is the next water stop, was about maybe at this point still about 7 kilometers away at 10%. And man, talk about pain. And then there's no shade either. Like there was trees on the side of the road, but the sun's basically just overhead, and it was just pain. And I remember riding past other guys, other riders, and there was this guy just sitting on the side of the road with that 1,000-meter stare, just looking into the distance. Yeah, it was just misery and pain. And then getting up towards Raspberry Hill, and I finally got to Raspberry Hill, and yeah, just the amount of just broken bodies just sitting around. It was incredible.
Did you enjoy it though?
I enjoyed it after I finished it. There's no question. Yeah. It's one of the best things I've ever done. One of the best things I've ever done. We started out at 4:30 a.m. and it took me just under 12 hours to complete it. And so
that's
I think
a massive ride.
The fastest guys did it in about 9 hours, and all right, and fair to them, fair effort to them. If you're used to doing that kind of climbing, if you're used to riding that kind of distance in one day, absolutely. And I was stoked that I got it done under 12 hours, and it was a real push. The last 10 kilometers back into town, back into the finish, was a real effort. And I remember I jumped on with a group of other guys, and there's about 4 or 5 of us, and we'll sort of end up taking turns as we came in, and was really pushing myself up towards 40 k's an hour just to make sure we got back in under 12 hours. But that pain cave effort, that emotional component to it at the back of that climb was just insane. And it's something that I've never repeated it. I've never done it again. And I have thought about doing it again, but haven't gotten around to it because it takes a bit of effort to get back there. There's lots of training, but
that's right.
It was certainly something that I look back on regularly. Not every month, but certainly once every year or so, I'll go back, I'll look at the ride, I'll look at the photos and congratulate myself on pushing through it, because it really was one of those situations where you kind of lose yourself and you find yourself at the same time, and you know that no one else is coming to help you. Like you either get up this climb or you stay there. And it was very much like that. It was pretty emotional, actually.
But the reward for you at the end of that, as you just sort of mentioned, that that you're extremely proud of yourself and the effort that you put in there, and you obviously think about that all the time. And certainly going up that hill, you wouldn't have had that in terms of motivation. May not have been then to what I mean just to get to the top of that climb, But the elation that you would have had coming into the town at the end, that last few Ks and stuff like that, would have been incredible to say, for you emotionally to see the finish line, to get to that point where it's all behind you, that you've done that, you've endured, and and that's what keeps you coming back, is the fact that you were able to do that, and then that is your reward or your motivation to get up and have a go at that again.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's exactly that too. It's that whole sense of that if you can get past this, then you can kind of do anything, and I think that's even if it's a short training session, if you can get through it, then you can do the next thing. You'll be a better person for it. You'll have a confidence that you didn't have before. And I think that's something that is, we all recognize, but we never sort of vocalize. That sense of that real accomplishment. It's not just enough sometimes to get on the bike and tootle around or go out and do a run, and you never really push yourself. You sort of do it within your own comfort boundaries. But then you put yourself into that space where it just hurts. And that also was one thing I remember hearing, because obviously the Tour de France is on, and I was listening to all the interviews and the different commentary about, the riders and these kinds of things and how they do what they do. And I think one thing that someone said, I don't recall who said it, but it really stuck in with me, was the difference between, these pro riders and us, I guess, is they embrace that pain. They allow the pain to just sort of wash over them.
Yeah.
They don't resist it. They just go, yep, the pain's coming and here it is now, and this is going to be with me for the next however long. And I've tried to sort of, I guess, figure that in my head when I've been doing this as well. And it hasn't always worked, but it's something that I keep back in my head now. I go, okay, here comes the pain. It's going to be with me. I allow it to be there. And I know at some point soon it will go away, and it will go away very quickly too.
Yeah, I mean, it is. Well, I think that a lot of that is that mental attitude that you've got to embrace to be able to do that. So we've talked a little bit about mental toughness, I guess, in terms of that, like knowing that training or workout is going to hurt, but then embracing that and going, okay, this is going to be tough, it's going to be bad or whatever.
Yeah.
And then pushing through that, and whether that's like, hitting the wall on a run or trying to get up that hill when you come around that corner and you just see that in front of you.
Yeah.
You've just got to, mentally go, okay, well, it is what it is. And as you say, you've got to pedal to get there. I've got to get that to that point, or I've got to get to the end finishing line because that's where the car's waiting for me, or I've got to get to wherever. You've just got to. And so part of that, I think the mental toughness that some of those guys on the tour must have, when they're going up those climbs, must just be
it's just
incredible.
Insane. Just insane. I was watching, quick sidetrack. I was watching the TTT of stage 13 that was just on yesterday, and it was a hill stage. So they were climbing for the entire time. It was only 10 kilometers, and the first guys did it in just under 30 minutes. And then Tadej and Jonas and these guys came through and did it in 24, 25 minutes. But the effort and the pain they must have gone through for that 25 minutes and by themselves is just, it's insane. It's just something I can't even get my head around, No,
but even on the stage before that, which is where Horticum, is it? I think that was where they were climbing.
Yep.
And Tadej just basically dropped Vinegar, just left him standing still and just loaded away from him. Like his
last
legs
5
must
minutes
have been absolutely screaming at him for that.
Yeah.
And that mental toughness to be able to know that you can do that. And whether he's done that, we've watched him in the past tours and stuff like that where he's been able to do things like that. So whether he now knows, I can push myself to those extremes, and mentally he's got it up here that he can just do that. But like now that you've done that ride, you can know that you could potentially do it again.
Yeah.
Like he's done that and he knows that he can do that again. And that, is just insane, that mental toughness that you would have to be able to do
resilience.
that time again.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it's so different to, I guess, everything that happens today. Like the way we're built today, it's all about quick fixes, instant gratifications. If you don't like it, stop. And it's such a contrast to what we're talking about, and that whole deliberately putting yourself into a really, really difficult situation for a period of time. As I said, it could be 10 minutes, it could be half an hour, it could be an hour, it could be 12 hours, and suffering through that, but knowing that eventually it will end. And the person that's there at the end is, I think, far different to the person that started it.
Oh, for sure.
And
Yeah.
I tried to, I remember taking my son up cycling. He was like 9 years old. And we got like 3/4 of the way up Toowoomba Gap, which is only when I say only, it's about 13 kilometres of a climb. It's about maybe 700 metres, some of this. And it's not easy by any stretch, but he got to within 2 kilometres. I remember saying to him, if you can make it to the end, you can do anything. Everything from there on becomes easier. Well, it doesn't, it becomes harder, but you know that you can get through it. And the fact that he got 2Ks to the end was just insane. It was just really an inspirational moment. And, one that I hope that he remembers too is, he goes through and approaches difficult situations, knowing that if he could do this, he can do that. And it's a really powerful thing.
Yeah, and I think that pain doesn't necessarily have to be in a singular effort too. I mean, it could be a week's workout.
Yeah.
So, it might be a volume thing. It could be, a single ride. Like most of what we've talked about so far has been a single ride or a single workout or a single event. But it could be if you're training for a particular event like your Audax one that you mentioned, you would have had lots of training episodes up until that point to get yourself in that space. And there would have been weeks in there, I would imagine, where you would have a high volume of Ks that you had to get through or things like that. And mentally, you've got to have that toughness in there too to be able to know, I've got a really heavy week coming up and I've just got to basically push through to tick off those Ks or get that mileage under my belt or whatever that is to be able to get to the next stage on the next goal and work your way up to that. So there's going to be periods of stuff where you're going to have to, I think, work hard, and then there's going to be parts of that where you'll have an easier week and you have to give your body time to adapt. But it's always trying to build that toughness and that hardness in that.
It's almost like laying bricks in a wall, like that first brick, and then the second brick goes up, and the third brick goes up, and before you know it, you've built this this amazing thing, and it just takes that first brick, and then if you can do that, and then you put the second brick in, if you can do that, and then the third brick in, if you can do that, and then that's how it builds. And before you know it, and you know this, before you know it, you've achieved these things that you never thought you could achieve. And it's just, it's just a matter of accepting the pain. Now, don't forget, we have our Discord channel. Join in the chat with others and share your experience, your journey, and tell us your pain cave story. And we'll feature the best one we got in next week's episode. The link to the Discord channel is in the description of this video. Now, the psychology of suffering. I love this. This is fantastic. Now, most people misunderstand pain. I do, because it hurts. We fear it, we resist it, we see it as failure. But enduring pain with the intention actually rewires how we see ourselves. And this is what we've been saying, pain is a mirror. The person that you are before you start something that's fairly epic is not the person that finishes it.
No.
And
I think,
I
think even if you don't succeed in that, say you do get halfway through that and you basically are spent and you have to pull up stumps or whatever, I think you still are coming out better off than if you had not attempted that at all.
Yeah.
And I think we've got to acknowledge that too. So yes, by all means, if you get through the whole workout, the whole event or whatever it is, you are much better for that. But the fact that you've attempted that and you may get a quarter of the way through the workout, half of the way through the workout, you are still better off for having attempted that and gotten through that part of it as well.
Absolutely.
So I think, it's about mentally just taking that step, taking the plunge and having a go. I think is a key part of that.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely spot on there, Andrew. I can't tell you how many times where, even at work, someone said the same thing to me. You learn more from failure than you ever do from succeeding, from an easy win, even if you do attempt it, and I think the biggest thing is just attempting it as well, because in your mind that it's not going to be easy. In your mind that it's going to be hard. That it's going to hurt. That it's going to take time and effort. And even to start it is fantastic because the amount of people that just that talk themselves out of it is insane. You know, it's only a very small percentage of people that actually go, okay, they draw a line in the stand, they're going to attempt something, they're going to do a marathon, they're going to do a run, they're going to do a park run, they're going to go and get started at the gym, you know, they're going to go start walking with friends. And the amount of people I would think that don't even make it to the start is huge.
Would be huge.
Yeah.
It'd be massive. Even my ride this afternoon, like there was plenty of times where, like I had one of my sons was sleeping in the back room this morning, so it's like, okay, can't go out there early and get the ride out the road because he's sleeping in the room. So you know, you sort of pushed it back already from that. And so there's the first excuse for the day of you know, not doing it, and then it was. You know, we had something else come up and a few other things come up, and it's like, right, I've got to get this thing done. And I looked it up, and it's going to be like 70k. So if you mentally start working it out, 30k's an hour, if I can average that, you know, there's 2 hours on the bike plus the little bit at the end. Okay, so I've got to have a 2 hour window, and that was close to lunch. Okay, we can't do it now because it's going to run into lunchtime. We'll do it after lunch. And then, you know, after lunch comes, and then it's like, okay, we're going to do it now. And so it was just a series of things until I eventually got to the point where Amanda had gone off and taken one of my other kids to a birthday party, and there was like a window of time between there to when dinner time was on. It's like, right, this is the window. I've got to get on there and just basically do it. And walked out and then hopped on the bike, and it was like, okay, we'll start and just sort of see how we go, and did a bit of a reward in terms of I bought myself a nice fast set of wheels and things like that in Swift, because that makes all the difference.
It does, absolutely.
Here. Oh yeah, and so and I'll just, you know, tick around and just ride through it, and you get there.
And you get it done. And it's surprising. Like we were saying just before the show, you know, you do find it surprising when you do achieve it. You do think, oh my God, it was painful, but I got it done, and I got to the end, or I completed whatever it was that I was trying to do. And there's this real resilience that kind of starts to build, and you think, oh yeah, okay, well if I can do this, then I can do that, and you know, one brick, second brick, third brick.
Yep.
And it starts building up. Absolutely. Sorry, go ahead.
So disappointed that all the pace partners, as I was doing that ride, because I had like the coffee stop, so I thought I'd love just to have that little 3-minute spell, you know, and they either all went past me in the opposite direction, or the timing was out. So I'd come out on the same loop, and then they'd be 5 minutes behind me, or something like that, and so it never lined up. And so there was some poor guy right at the end who just happened to be doing like sort of equalish watts to what I was putting out. And so I just hit the button and just like, you know, sucked his wheel for 3 minutes, and it was like
anything that you can do.
I just needed that little bit of a break, and then away I went. So thanks for that little toe along the line.
No, exactly. And it's all those small things. It's like when I was cycling outside in that Audax, you know, it's even like a cool wind that comes through, and you go, oh, and that just gets you through the next 5 minutes. You know, and then you're back to suffering again, but it's 5 minutes is gone, you know, and then it's you end up cycling with someone else, and you have a bit of a chat, or you're talking or whatever, or even if you're just suffering in silence together, you just know that, you know, someone else is going through the same pain that you are or I am. And it kind of just makes it a little bit easier to get past. It's all those little, you know, those little stepping stones that get you across the river. Yeah,
I think you can't dwell on the numbers too much in that.
No.
So, like, you know, if you become too time orientated about how long it's going to take to complete, that, you know, that starts to interfere with your mindset. So you've got to sort of not look at that, not look at the Ks, not look at how much further you got to go or whatever it is, but you almost narrow that vision down onto something that's really small, and just tune out from the other stuff, and then just work to that little thing in that little window, whether it's just holding that steady cadence up that climb, and you just get into the rhythm, and you just mentally stay in that spot, you know, and just churn it out, or, you know, the same with it's a running cadence or whatever that is, but you just shut out all those other things, the distractions, the little voices about how much you've got left to go.
No,
You
break
just
it down.
focus in, and focus
Yep.
on the little short-term parts of it.
Yeah, exactly. It's like I'll do this for the next minute, or like you were saying before at the start of the show. Just break it down into 2 kilometer segments.
Chunks. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's easier to do 2Ks than it is to do 200.
Yep.
But you keep doing 2Ks, and eventually you get to 200. Well, 200 is a lot, but 70.
Yeah, but that's right. The logic's there. That's it. You just tick off the little milestones. You just keep eating away at and like your metaphor with the bricks of the house. Eventually you get a house.
Yeah, you just got to start with that first brick.
Yep.
I've got a question for you. Have you ever done like a cold plunge, like an ice bath?
I have not.
No?
No. I've come close, and there's a guy called the Ginger something or other.
Yeah.
And I somehow got a hold of him. He's got like a bit of a social presence. And you can get like plans on how to build like the whole thing out of like a freezer and what pumps to buy.
Oh yeah, like an ice bath.
All those sorts of things. Yeah. And so I got to the point of looking into that whole thing and had the sort of plans of what I needed to buy.
Yep.
But no, I never actually have done it.
Haven't gone that far.
But no, you have.
I have, yes, and that's another example of pain. Man, that was, what was it, 10 minutes? That was the longest 10 minutes I've ever done, I think, in an ice bath. But again, it's that controlled suffering. Like that it's going to be for 10 minutes. I had a big timer at the end of the bath, and I knew, you just got to count it down. You just got to stay in that zone, stay in that suffering position for 10 minutes, and then you get to the end of it. And I tell you what, though, I was bloody happy to get out of that bath. That's for sure.
I don't know how you've done that, because I can't even stand a cold shower.
Yeah. No, I don't like cold shower either.
No.
I don't think I could get.
I don't know whether there's a difference between a cold shower and like your ice bath, like mentally. I know they're both cold, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like once you're in a bath, you're sort of in it type of thing.
I think that's the difference. Maybe the cold shower might be harder.
Yeah, whereas the shower, it's easy just to take a step and you're out of it, out of the stream or
whatever. I think it's also the fact that, not all of your body's wet and cold. Parts of it are warm still. And and then it's like, it's a shock. It's a continual shock all the time as different parts of your body get wet and cold, as opposed to just dunking it in. But I do watch a lot of the those videos on Instagram and I think, maybe, because they've got those really nice portable and sort of inflatable ones, and they're cheap, and you can just pop them up anywhere, and just they've got a cover on it so they kind of stay cool when you're not using them. And I think to myself, I probably should get one of those. And that's as far as it goes.
Yeah, especially in summer, because summer it's so hot. Like you come out and the fan's just blowing hot air at you, and you just want to get off and cool down, like really, And so I think that's where I sort of started, like looking into it. But just to sort of come straight out of that and then just plunge into some nice icy cold water and sort of cool down. But I never got there.
No, yeah, look, it's all about gradually moving.
Small steps, mate. Steps.
That's what I was looking for. Small steps. You don't have to go and do everything all at once.
No.
But I think I might readjust that position as we come back into summer, and looking for a cool way to get to cool off after a bike ride or a run. Kind of an ice bath sounds all right.
Well, it might be beneficial for us. We are getting not as young as we once were.
No, we're no spring chickens, are we?
No spring chickens. I had my physio appointment today. A bit of a side note.
Yeah, how was that?
I actually missed one the other day, so I had to make up. But he was all happy with everything. He said, yes, you can start running and, maybe not just go out and run 5Ks, but...
Your calf muscle's coming back, is it?
He said, just do a walk, run and build yourself up there slowly rather than just going out and running 5Ks. And I said, it wasn't actually my intention to run the 5Ks to start off with. I thought I would actually just fatigued really quickly and just go, oh mate, I need to walk, and that never came. So yeah. So we had a bit of a laugh about that, but yes, he sort of given me the green light to go ahead with that. And
that's awesome.
I've got my little training app on the phone ready to roll for that.
Yep.
And
which training app is that?
It is unfortunately a paid one.
Yep.
You're going to pay for it. But it is called 5K Runner.
5K Runner.
Yeah.
Is there a free version of that?
Can't say.
Probably there is.
I don't know.
5K Runner. That's it.
5K
Let's
runner.
go.
And so that's the structure of the first thing.
Yep.
You do a
week 1, day 1.
And then you
okay, so it says 15-minute, 1 minute run plus a 1.5 minute walk 6 times.
Yep.
Okay. Yep.
And then cool. And so it just gradually builds up the either the run and the walk times and things like that. So
yep.
He was quite happy with that. I showed him that and says, "Is that okay?" Oh yeah, that looks good. So he was pretty happy with that. So
awesome.
Yes, that sort of thing. So that's sorted. And then the other thing that's on the radar, which you and I have talked about, which I'm trying to work out logistically if I can make this happen or not.
Okay.
Is the Amy's ride.
Yep.
Over in
Lawn,
Portsea,
which is down towards the bottom of Victoria along the Great Ocean Road.
Which is 121
kilometres with just under 2,000 metres of climbing.
Yes. Now, I've actually got in my possession, because I was looking to do this ride. I've been looking to do it a number of times, and it's never panned out.
Never eventuated.
But there was a guy called Dave Heatley who runs a cycling training coaching program, a coaching organisation, company, whatever it is. And I signed up with him a while back for different programs and different things. And whilst I was doing one program, that one there I actually signed up for. And so I've actually got the 20 weeks of weekly training modules to go for that event.
Oh, okay.
So, in week 20, you would do, rest day here and do this here and then do this. And so there's a structure for the whole week.
Yep.
And then you go to the next week and the next week and the next week and so on and so forth. So that is something that I'm looking to potentially do as a bit of a way of, I guess, building back up to that event, is trying to then have because that works for me. That's my small bricks, is those weeks.
Yep.
Day to day or week to week, and then gradually build that up. If I know that if I follow that program, that I'd be in a lot better place in 20 weeks' time than I am currently at this point in time.
Okay.
So there's my duration type of thing.
That's your program.
That's the program. So now that I actually know that I still have that and I've dug that off the computer somewhere, I'll fish that out.
Wait, so is there 20 weeks between now and then?
Oh, I got no idea how many weeks it is. I was going to have a look today on the calendar and I didn't work that out. So whatever it is, I'll go from, I just basically work backwards from the end training program.
Yep.
So I line that up with the date of when the ride is and then work my way back. And if it works out that there's only, 18 weeks or 17 weeks, then I just start at week 17 and go from there.
Oh, okay.
You get what I mean?
I think so. Do you think they'll work?
Endpoint's always this. Endpoint's already fixed.
Well, yeah, it's always the same. Yeah.
You just take off the starting weeks or whatever you've missed and just
so just launch straight into it with a dodgy calf.
Yeah. Just go into that. That's right.
What's the worst that can happen?
Well, I've done a few rides over the last couple of weeks, so
you're feeling good.
Yeah, I'm feeling all right. Bike's all right. You don't use that particular calf muscle I pulled. Apparently, you don't use that on the bike.
No, that's right. You don't. Yep.
So I even when I had pulled it, I could ride and wouldn't have any issue on. And I'm looking that way because I'm actually looking at the bike. But I could ride the bike and wouldn't have any issue with that particular muscle. So it's only a running thing. So yeah.
Okay. All right. So where are we then on the scale of 1 to 10? 1, you're not doing it. 10, you're absolutely committed to the ride. I'm going to put you on the spot here.
No, well, I just got to see whether I get the time off work because it's For me, it'll be the week after school goes back in term 4.
Yeah, that's the problem.
It just falls out of school holidays.
Yeah.
So I got to see whether I get the time off, and I'll probably try and get the Monday, Tuesday being the rest day, and Monday to drive back or something like
That's
that.
right, because you got to. It's a day drive between where you live and where this is.
Yep. And so if that works out, I tentatively asked Amanda and said, "Oh, Nathan, we're talking about this ride, and blah blah blah. What do you think?" She goes, "When is it?" And I said, "Oh, 19th of October." And she looked it up on the calendar. And she goes, "Oh, I've got some work thing, but that finishes on the 14th." So she's done her thing, and then it's, "Oh yeah, that should be okay." And I think, okay, yeah, I don't know whether you've really thought through what I'm asking you, but so far it's green lighted there.
Yep.
So yeah, if I can get the green light from work, and I've sort of got that from Amanda, then it's just basically trying to lock in the financial part of it.
Yep.
And see how we go from there. So,
right. Well,
if that goes ahead, yes, I'm probably about 80% there.
Okay. All right. Let's keep on it. I'll have to round up the other suspects and get them on board, but they've all given me tentative confirmation. So this is going to be good. I haven't done this since, I think I looked it up. I haven't done this since 2018. That's the last time I did this. So yeah.
We used to have Amy's ride here in SA, and then it all fell over.
Yeah, okay.
From what I heard, I think there was a disagreement between the foundation and Bike SA here in South Australia.
Right, okay, yep. I remember there was definitely some grief with this particular ride and the local residents too. So, but it's still continuing, and we'll get to check it out. So it's definitely a great ride. It's a beautiful ride in terms of the scenery, but is not without its difficult spots. So and of course it's in the end of October. So in Australia, the end of October typically is the rainy part of the year for us, and that can be somewhat problematic. I remember the last time I went up to the highest point of the ride, and there was ice on the side of the road. So not from snow, I think, but just from really cold, frosty mornings. So
what is
be
that
prepared
wet
for that.
stuff you speak of? Yeah.
Sorry?
I said, what is this wet stuff that you speak of? Like ice. We don't get ice and snow here.
Yeah, no, it's a rarity here too. But yeah, if you look around, you can find it.
So I mean,
yep.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting. Like I'm actually sort of, there's something I had talked about for a long time. So yeah, I'm hoping I can get it together and get it off the ground. It'll be good.
Oh, it'd be fantastic. It'd be really good to get together and do a ride and suffer through it. And there'll be its own little pain cave session.
Yeah, it'd be good to do like I'll give a bit of a journal type of thing.
Yeah, okay.
So like we, just a bit of a recap on the week on the show or something like that, and just sort of say, this is my starting point where I'm at the moment, and then after each week, and then sort of can say, how
see
the
how
week
you're
was and feeling and whatever else, and what the hardships were, and
the
trials
difficulties,
and all those sorts of things, and how I got over.
You got to promise me one thing though.
Yeah.
You got to keep that mustache until the ride.
No. Oh mate, I won't be allowed to do that. Even I might have to prune them off a little bit. Just bring them up.
No. If anything, you got to make them longer. right down.
Do you know how many times I've actually thought about growing like that so I can kill it?
I've done that. And then for a little while I was trying to do Tony Stark's, and I was trimming around the edge. It was just too difficult. I couldn't do all the little trims and stuff. But I've messed around with that. I would love to have the little spiky at the side twisted up. I've got some beard wax that helps.
Oh, yeah.
Yep, get some of that.
No, I'm normally just a lazy person, so my facial hair is just purely from the lack of motivation to shave.
Hey, wait. So has anyone? No, you're not on holidays at the moment, are you?
Yeah, last weekend. We go back Monday.
Okay, so are you going to keep it for Monday?
I have toyed around with that. rolling into work with it on Monday and then just shaving it on Monday. So Monday night.
just, and just like be really angry too at the same time, and just really throw the fear of God into everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I look
look
like
at
a
everyone
Western cowboy or
sideways.
something like that.
Yeah, I love it. You should definitely do that. That would be fantastic.
I might not
All
do a job.
right, let's wrap this up. So now I was just we were saying before, which was the pain cave isn't to be endured; it can be trained, which is it can. That's how you get better. You can prepare for it. Enter it willingly. I don't know about willingly. You force yourself into it, but you walk out stronger than when you enter. And that's what we're saying. Like the person that starts the ride isn't the person that finishes the ride. And you get that real discovery moment where you realize that you can do things that you didn't think you could do.
Yeah.
That's and that's a fantastic thing. And then no one really tells you that either. Like when you discover it and you experience it, it's like this oh my God moment. It's a real, what would you say? It's a real, discovery.
Epiphany.
Epiphany. There we go. That's a great word. You should be a teacher.
Maybe I might take that up.
All right. Let's finish this up. So, as I said, we're talking about the pain cave, about how you can, experience it, get into it,
Embrace it.
Embrace it. That's exactly right. Embrace it. Now, in this week, our listener worksheet there's a link to it in the description below. You can build your own pain cave session. So it will take you through how to set up that. So a threshold session, physical, mental, and ritualized. You can track your outcome and you can celebrate your survival. So you can definitely check that out. But you don't need to go looking for the pain cave. It will find you. It always does. But if you're training for it, you won't flinch when it does. So as I said, in this week's worksheet, you've got your pre-cave mindset checklist. You've got your post-cave reflection prompts, reframes for discomfort. Now I'm really digging that whole reframing thing because when we've been at the gym, Sharon has just come so far. My wife has come so far, in the gym, that even now she's kind of acknowledging that whole reframing. So no longer are things too hard or too difficult. They're stepping stones, they're challenges. And so even, she's sort of started to use that mentality of turning that negative comment that you say to yourself all the time, that I can't do it, I'm not good enough, I always screw this up, I always fail. And you turn into, I show up, I try, maybe I didn't get it done the way I wanted to, but I did it better than I did it last time.
Yeah.
And so even she's really, getting into that. And,
that's right. Even if you don't get through all your reps or something like that, as we said earlier, like if she gets through 2/3 of the repetitions, rather than looking at that as a failure because you didn't get through the whole lot, that could have been 1/3 more than she got yesterday.
She's bumped up. Yeah. She almost every session now she's bumping one of the reps up, one of the exercises up. So she's up to doing 30 kilo bench press, which is just unreal. It's just fantastic. Squats, deadlift, she's bumped all those up, and all the other exercises that I put her through. They've stopped being this. She stopped with the resistance, and it's now how can I do this better, and when can I push it up again? And it's just really getting some great results out of it. And as I said, it's from that whole idea of you turn those negative thoughts into positive thoughts. Andrew, like you say, you beat everyone who doesn't get off the couch.
Yep, exactly right, mate.
Every day of the week.
Yep.
So I'm really interested for those that do listen or watch us on YouTube, or do listen to us on your favorite podcast platform. We're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon. If you are listening to us there, go and check the link out for these listener worksheets. We have one for each episode, and it will have a series of steps and tasks and planners that you can go through each week and fill them out with the information that you're going through and what you're experiencing. And I'd be really interested to see what people think about them, whether they work, whether we can adjust them, whether we can change anything about that. And share us. Like if they're helping you, we'd love it. Yeah. And if you find that they are helping you, share this video, share this podcast with someone else, not just because we want you to share it. Well, we do want you to share it, but share it because you think that someone else could benefit from it. That's probably the bigger thing.
Yeah.
So if you've got someone that can benefit from this, send them this podcast, send the link to it, and see if this can help out.
That's right.
All right, mate. I think we've nailed this one on the head. Let's wrap this up and bring it home. So what you call suffering today might become your strength tomorrow. Because pain is not just something to survive, it's something to transcend. Ooh, I like that, transcend. If you felt something today, if this has hit you deeper than just training, then share it. Not because, as I said, not because it's going to help us grow, but because there's someone else out there who is going to, who needs to know this, and they need to know it's survivable. So in next week's episode, we've got a bit of a sharp pivot, because we're not going to talk about just the motivation, the strategies. This is going to be just as powerful. This is going to be, don't trust the scale, trust the system. So we're calling out measurement obsession, and we're going to show you how to track progress without destroying your mental health. Now, I know, Andrew, very quickly, that I can get obsessed with measurements, body measurements, and I often find myself wondering why it is that I'm either not losing weight, or I'm gaining weight, or not in the way I want to, and it becomes, I can become fixated on it. I don't know if that's something you've experienced.
Not too much on the weight issue. I'm pretty happy. I'm comfortable with that. I certainly know, and I'm aware that if I was to lose 10 kilos or 15 kilos or whatever, that it'll be much easier for me to climb up a hill, and or if I can hold that power, to put that power to what that weight ratio would be better. I get all that sort of stuff, but I've never sort of been fixated by that per se. I like numbers, and I certainly am a bit of a data freak in terms of I got all sorts of metrics that I look at, but I don't dwell on them as such.
Yeah.
So I
know
use them as a tool, and that's all I do.
Yep. No, I know I can get a little bit carried away sometimes with it. Sometimes it's fine, and if I think I'm where I need to be, it doesn't worry me. But all of a sudden I put on a bit of weight, or that weight changes, and not in the way I expect. I can sort of I know that I can get a bit down on myself, and so it's something that next week's episode is hopefully going to help us out with.
Oh, sounds good.
All right, so if you haven't subscribed to our podcast, The Lycra Conspiracy, look, please do. It does help. We do spend a bit of time putting this together. So wherever you're listening, leave a comment if this mattered. And as always, keep up the writing, keep up the running, keep up the gym work, keep up what you're doing, keep reflecting. And, when you hit the wall, lean in.
Yep.
All right. Thank you very much, Andrew. As always, thank you. And we'll catch you in the next episode.
Okay. Bye.